This is the story of a college dropout. Clearly, this decision wasn't permanent, but that's not the story I'm telling you today. To fully understand my failure, we have to travel back in time to high school. I was a part of my school's Project Lead the Way Engineering Academy. My goal was to be an aerospace engineer. And as far as the almost straight A National Honor Society and University of Florida bound student I was concerned, that was the reality. Now, after I graduated high school, I moved with my mom, her boyfriend, and my sister to Archer, Florida. Which was great because then I only had to commute 30 minutes to school instead of living in the dorms or in an apartment. So this little home in the middle of nowhere with 7 dogs, 2 horses, and 10 acres is where I lived, for now. But we'll come back to that. Fast forward to fall semester 2016. My first class was Chemistry 1 at 7:25 a.m. Yeah, and you thought the 8 a.m.s here were bad. But don't forget, I had to commute 30 minutes to the parking garage and then take the RTS bus to my building. I was up really early. Just before the actual lecture began, another professor had an announcement for us. He said, "Hey, if you took AP or ACE chemistry in high school, we offer this honors class that combines Chemistry 1 and 2 into one semester." And having taken ACE chemistry and gotten all A's in it, I thought that sounded great. This, right here, was the beginning of the end. And let me tell you why. This class was, in my opinion, advertised as being Chemistry 1 and 2 material sped up enough to fit into one semester. But in reality, quantum mechanics. This is what a typical day in this class felt like for me.
One particle of unobtainium has a nuclear reaction with a flux capacitor. Carry the two, changing its atomic isotoner into a radioactive spider. Fuck you, science!
So after going to every single homework help and still getting a 39 on the first exam, I knew I wasn't going to last. As a result, that class and its corresponding lab are the first courses I withdrew from. Just after this is when things started really going downhill at home. They had been for a while, but they had finally reached my breaking point. Meet Robbie, my mom's boyfriend. Construction worker, former horse jumper, alcoholic, and proud racist. I could go on. And while he is a good boyfriend in person towards my mom, I didn't, and to be honest, still don't, get quite the same treatment. If I was in the house, I was doing something wrong. If I was out, I was doing something wrong. I'll spare you the insults and the names he called me. By the end of October, I had reached my limit. I started looking into apartments and settled on Campus Club, which later changed its name to The Niche. It was a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and besides one bad roommate, I loved living there. I thought this might have been the end of my downfall. I was wrong. 2 weeks later, my boyfriend that I had been with for 2 years and I broke up. And that's typical for high school couples to break up in college, but it couldn't have come at a worse time. At this point, Calc 1 was starting to become a problem for me. Now here's the thing. I passed AP Calc AB in high school, so I already had credit for it. But no, UF does things differently. They have you in lectures of over 400 students, have you doing over 200 problems a week. I started falling behind, and at some point, it became too much. That's when Calc 1 became the second class I withdrew from. When I went to my advisor about this, he said I could just move on to Calc 2 since I already had Calc 1 credit. So, I made the decision to take Calc 2 by itself during the spring semester, and whether I could pass Calc 2 would determine whether I could be an engineer or not. The first few weeks went well. I was doing well and understanding the material. But then we got into graphs. None of it made sense, and I failed my first exam. Should I have kept going? Maybe. But I decided enough was enough. I'm not going to be an engineer after all, and finally, I dropped out.